Hi, I've written a piece about China and technology. China, of course, was epoch-making, and we know that now. China's about a quarter of global industrial production, the largest source of tourism revenue. It accounts for half of world crude steel production. I mean, the list could kind of go on. And I talk about China specifically to give the technology discussion some scale, because I actually think the technology revolution we're seeing is likely to be bigger and in many ways broader. The impact of China on economies in the Asia Pacific often was quite positive, very substantially positive in some cases. And the sectoral impacts were quite narrow. Manufacturing, of course, was disintermediated as that shifted to China, and particularly economies with some natural resource base did very well. But the overall impact often reasonably positive, particularly if you also benefited from tourism. But I think technology is likely to have a much deeper impact across a range of sectors in the economy. In fact, it's almost difficult to think of a sector which is not affected by technology now. And in addition to that, the macro economy has already started to perform differently across a range of economies, particularly wages and business investment, and we've written about that previously. Technology also is impacting the nexus between economic and social policies. We think about the way voters have behaved and what they're demanding from their elected representatives these days. From a sectoral perspective, there are fewer obvious winners. Certainly the technology companies themselves, and there are a few of those, but the gains from that won't be spread as broadly. I mean, I think, and almost most importantly, challenges to our ideas and frameworks, and this is where I think the challenge is probably most stark, as we need to rethink, I think, a lot of the ideas we use when we think about economic analysis and economic frameworks. So for me, we need to resist the temptation to think about surprises and technological impacts as one-off. They are likely to be a series of ongoing surprises and shocks, and we need to take the lessons from them to rethink our approaches. So in other words, fundamentalism, I think, conviction in principles rather than outcomes, is not going to serve us particularly well, and I think governments have a way to go to get to that point. Thank you.